Welcome everyone. It's just a classic song by Queensrÿche. I actually heard Jet City Woman on the radio and I'm like, oh, I got to learn that one. And that was what I was going to start out with. But then I saw a really great Guitar World how to play with Michael Wilton, the guitarist, one of the guitarists from Queensrÿche. And he showed the intro to Empire, and it really struck my interest because I like the kind of dyads that they're doing in the intro. It's very reminiscent of like the way I like early Def Leppard, the way they use those dyads and parts of chords. So I really studied what Michael Wilton did. I took the video, I took that part out, slowed it down, watched what he did, and then worked on it. So we'll go over the lesson. This will be a whole lesson. I'll cover where the two guitars differentiate, how to play those parts, and you'll have the whole song. This is in standard tuning. My notes will be linked below the video, so you can link on that and download it. I'm playing in amplitude 5, and so if you have that with the custom shop, some of the effects, I'll put a link below the video also so you can download that preset and load it in, because I downloaded a preset from a guy on the internet and I kind of tweaked it a little bit, so added a little delay and so forth. So if you like the sound and you have amplitude 5, I think it might work with 4 also, so it's worth a try. So we'll go over the lesson next. So for this intro, there's 4 measures to the intro. You'll play 2, and the second 2 measures, a solo comes in over it. The very first intro, I noticed Michael Wilton, and when I see people play this, really hit a full A chord twice, or A power chord. And I noticed he specifically, both times he did this, was hitting the A string before he hit the A power chord. And I think that adds something to this. It just makes that A a little bit more separate. So when you move up with your dyads, it makes sense. So we're hitting the A string, the 5th string open, and then the 4th and 3rd string at the 2nd fret. Then we have a little chug. Then we're going to hit 2 and 3. 3 on the 4th string, 2 on the 3rd. Then we're going to move that up to 4 and 3. So we have this. And then we're going to hit a couple. Then back to 2 and 3. Then 5 and 3. And then move that 5 to a 4. All right. So this first half measure. All right. So that sounds a little dissonant, and you want to resolve it. All right. So we resolve it back to 5 and 3. That's on the 4th and 3rd string, all right? So to the resolve, then we take that one full step up to 5 and 7 on the 4th and 3rd string, and then we're going to come back to 5. All right, I like to switch at that point to my first finger because we're going to do a little pull off on the 2nd string and get back into that 5 and 7. All right, so far. Now I switch here and I'm going to hit 5 and 7. We're going to hit the 5th on the 5th fret of the 4th, 3rd, and then the 2nd string at 6, and then hit it again and pull off. So we're going from 5, 7 to the 6 and 6 pull off. And then back to 5 and 7. Again, this is watching him very closely, slowing that video down. This is what he's doing. So again, from the very top, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's almost harder to show slow. I'll do it at a medium tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, second measure changes quite a bit. We're going to kind of just think of the second fret of the fourth string and third fret of the fourth string and second fret of the third string is kind of an anchor point. All right, so we're going to start out the same, A string and A power chord, and then the same first 3 diads. Then our anchor point to 5 and 3, back to 3 and 2. 2 more chugs, then we're back to 2 and 3. Then we come up to 7 and 5. 7 on the third, 5 on the fourth. And then 4 and 5. Alright, so up to that point with the second measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come back at this point to 7 and 5. I stay here. You'll see why. So I'm going to come back 7 and 5 to 5, and then we're going to go 4 on the fourth string to 5 on the fourth string, and then quickly to a D. All right. So that whole thing slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now we're into where the solo enters. So when the solo enters, the rhythm, again, just like that second line with the 2 and 3 anchor, all right, we're going to use that up to the 5 and 7, back to 4, 5, and then we'll do another little variation on it. I'll show it to you and then we'll go over it. All right, so it's kind of a quickly right here when we let off the 7 to 4, 5. We're going to add our 5 back and then off, all right? And then we will come right back and start over again, even shorter. The shorter part is we've got our anchor, we're doing 5 and 3, back to 2 and 3, and then we'll hit 2 and 3 again, and then we just come into a full C power chord, G power chord, C power chord, and then A to actually start the verse. Okay? So the second 2 measures of the intro where the solo comes in, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that A is our verse, starts the verse. So most of this song is really based on A major scale. This intro is going to start out, and again, this I learned from watching live videos, especially a real early Queensrÿche video. They showed this lead part pretty well. So you'll hear this for the intro solo. right, so what we're doing there, it's all on the 3rd string. We're going to start out on the 12th fret with a bend and some vibrato. Come to the 9th fret, then to the 10th fret. I notice he just slides in. And then bend that up with a release, and then hammer on from 9 to 10, and back to 9, and slide to 7. So we'll have this. Alright, so the first half of the solo, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, then he just slides into 14, back to 12, sliding again from 14 to 16, hitting 14, sliding up to 17, with some vibrato, and then we're going to hit 16, 17, and 17 bent up. So it's really walking up the scale. Now when he releases that bend, we're going to quickly hit 16 hammered onto 17 and release, and then end on that A note on the 3rd string at the 14th fret. So the second half of the lead together, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, during the verse, the first measure, at the second half of this first measure, when he goes really from a G to an F, you'll hear octaves. All right, so we'll talk about that and why that works, and what a great idea. It just plays well. So to start out with, we're gonna hold our A with a lot of almost feedback or just like a compression, holding that A till we come into a G C. Next, one guitar will go to a G and an F, back to an A. He's going to hit the other guitar, will be doing this octave. Again, 2nd fret of the 5th string, 3rd string, 4th, and we're just going to move that up a half step. Alright, the reason that works, alright, when we're hitting a G here, we're on the B note here. The B note is the 3rd of a G chord. Alright, when we move it up, we're on the 4th of an F note, the C. So it really works well together. And then the second measure of the verse, the very first half's the same, where we go from G to C, back to A, and then we do a G power chord, all right, no 3rd, so we're not going to play the B note, we'll cover the first 2 strings, and then to an F, okay? So the second measure, let me do that with you. When the second guitar, when we come in right after the G as it's ringing, and I've noted this as a second guitar, it's in red because I just included it in there. At the 10th fret, 2nd string, you'll hear him hit that note. And he just holds it, all right? So again, if you want to do the note or just play the chords, and then we're into what I consider verse 2. Right? Verse 2 is exactly the same, and then we're into the pre-chorus. All right, I'm going to play the pre-chorus, and I'll show you what we're doing. So what we're doing there, and like I said, I tried playing the F chord back to D and then up to the G chord back to D, but something just didn't sound right. So again, watching live videos and things, I figured out what he's doing are octaves for the F and the G. So we're going to do 5th string and 3rd string, and it's a slide in, and then D, and then slide up to 10 and 12, back to a D, back to 8 and 10, and then an octave on C. So you want to move up. Again, watching these guys live, this is what one of the guitars are doing. He slides up to a C octave, back to G. All right, the F to D and G to D, repeat. And then we have a power chord G. All right. So that's one guitar. Now notice the other guitar is just playing at the 5th position. So the pre-chorus with the second guitar, which again I notice is only playing at the 5th position, we'll be doing this. So the inversions will be an F. All right, we're not going to use that 5th string, but that's a root note. All right, that's the F. So it's similar to a C. If you were barring here, you would be playing a C shape that's actually an F. So 2nd string, 2nd string, 6th fret, 8th fret on the 4th, and the 3rd string will be on the 5th fret. Then just to a D. Then we're going to do a 4th inversion, so we'll be playing a G. You can add that 5th string if you want on the 5th fret. So it'll be 5th string, 4th string on the 5th fret. The 3rd string on 7 and 8 would be the 2nd string. Back to D. F one more time. To D. And then C, so we're just going to play the bottom half of the C with the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. And to that G. Alright, so that together, 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat it. When we get to the F, we're just going to hit that G. And then the actual chorus kicks in. We're to the chorus. The chorus, like I said, he's really using that 2nd measure where we're riding on the 2 and 3, if you will. All right, he will go to the very first measure of the intro where we did the 6th. All right, he'll do that, the 3rd measure, only in this 2nd chorus. So I know it's confusing, but I've written it out, and once you play along with it, everything fits together. So let's look at the first 2 measures. I'm going to play one measure, but this will repeat, and this is the first measure of the 2nd chorus. All right, so the difference is we're pedaling on that 2 and 3, and then we come up to the 5, 7, back to 4, 5, and then we're going to go 4, 5, back to 5, 5, back to 4, 5. All right, that kind of ends the first measure if you listen really closely. So here we are again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we do it again. Third measure. That takes us to the interlude. All right, so the third measure, again, like I said, it's the first measure of the intro. So the second chorus, third measure, same as the first measure of the intro. All right, so we're doing our 2-3, and then 4 back to 2-3, then 5-3 back to 4-3. Then 5-3 up to 7-5, and then to 5-5. Then we're going to hit 7-5 and then come to 6 with the second string and then pulled off. And then we actually hit a full D chord. And then back to a C, G, C, G, C. And up to a D. And that leads us into the interlude. So this second chorus, that third measure, is really more of an intro to the interlude. Okay, we're to the interlude. It's really much cleaner. A little bit of chorus, and we have this. And then it starts over again. So for this, we're playing with this E ringing out. Okay, we're going to start out with a D sus2, so that E is open. Then we're going to move up to the second string and third string at the 3rd fret. And then you'll hear a little hammer-on, kind of a pull-up. That's to the 5th string back to the 3rd fret. All right, so we have this. And then we do our D again. Then we move up to the 2nd string at the 5th fret with the 3rd string. Then we'll add 6 to the 2nd string, back to 5. There's no hammer on and pull off this half measure. Second time through, we'll hit that D sus2, and we're going to move that up to a G sus2. So we'll still be playing a half fret apart, but we're going to move up to the 7th fret and 8th fret. All right. And then we come back to 5 on the 3rd and 2nd, hit it once with 6, and then once without, but we'll hammer 6 and pull off. So all together, 1, 2, 3, 4. Starts over. So that is the interlude. They will do 4 measures of that before they come in with the guitar rhythm that's much different because he's going to switch keys in it. And then that's the solo. But I'm saying the rhythm under the solo is a little bit different. The rhythm guitar underneath the solo will be playing this. chorus, which takes us out. So really what we're playing, A to G to F twice. The F is almost like a walk down. We're going to go F to an open A string and then D power chord. All right, from that D we'll go back to A and then G back to D. Kind of start our key change. We're going to C, G, back to C, and then to A sharp, or because we're moving down, this would be B flat. Then he's going to move up to F, and then 2 quick Gs. It's kind of like, I don't know that he's just trying to keep up with the time. Back to our B flat, and then this will repeat 3 times. We're going to go from the 6th fret, our G sharp to D, I'm sorry, D sharp to D to C 3 times. And D sharp back to D, and then end on an F. Then we start the chorus out. So that is the solo rhythm. I've written that out. We'll go over the solo at the end and the actual ending solo that comes during the outro chorus. Alright, so our chorus out will be just like our other choruses, but it's just going to be repeated over and over. I'm going to do it for 2 measures, and then like I said, it just repeats with the solo coming in the 4th time. So like I talked about, this is kind of pedaling on that 2-3, and then we finish off with a 4-5-4. So we have our A note before our power chord, then our 2-3, and then 3-4. Then we'll come 5 and 3 back to 2 and 3. Then 2-3. Up to 5 and 7, back to 4-5, and then 4-5, 5, 4-5. So the first measure, the guitar solo will go like this. Alright, I'll stop there. What we're doing is we're at the 17th fret. We're going to hit 20 on the 2nd string, bent up, and then hit 20 again, bent and release to 17. Hit 20 on the 1st string, and then hit it again, bend up, release to 17, 20 with 2 more bends. Then we're going to pull off from 20 to 17, hit 20 on the 2nd string, back to 17. This is triplets going back and forth. So pulling off from 20 to 17, 1st string, 20 2nd, 17 1st, 22nd, 17, 20, 17, that's 2nd string, 19 on the 3rd, 17 on the 2nd, to 19, 17 on the 3rd, and ending on 19 on the 4th. I know it's a lot of notes, but when you look at it, it'll be this. We're starting with a pull-off. From there, again, this is a nice melodic approach. We're going to hit 19 again on that 4th string and go into this. Alright, I'll stop there. But we're going to move down the scale here. So to start it out, 19 on the 4th to 17 on the 3rd, 17 on the 2nd, back to 17 on the 3rd. Then 19 on that 3rd string, bent and released, pulled off to 17, back to 19. Alright, so we have this. Listen to this melody. Then we come to 17, we're going to hammer on to 18, pull off to 17, hit 19 on the 3rd, back to 17 on the 2nd. Then we start our walk down on the 3rd string. It'll be 19 to 17, 19, 17, slid back to 16, 17, 16 to 14. Then we're going to hit 16, 14, slid to 12, and hit 14, 12, 14. All right. So from that pull off from 17 to 18 back to 17. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that whole thing together, 1, 2, 3, 4. So after that, walk down on the 3rd string, we've ended on 14. We're going to do this. So this 3rd measure of the solos, again, very melodic. We're going to be hitting 15 on the 2nd string to 13, and then 15 on the 2nd string. We'll do that a total of really 5 times. The 5th time it changes. So 5 times through it. Then we'll come right down to 15 on the 2nd string, to 13 and then 12 on the 1st. To end the measure, we're going to hit 15 bent and then 15 again with a bend, a little bit of vibrato, and release to 13, back to 15. Alright, then we're going to start some octaves. This is where the key change happens, and we'll do some octave notes for the 4th measure. So the 4th measure will sound like this. Alright, so what we're doing, let's just say we're always 4 frets apart. It'll be the 3rd string and the 1st string. So I'll just talk to the 3rd string, because again your 1st string will follow 4 apart. So we're going to hit the 12 and then hit 12 again, slide to 10. Then we're going to hit 10 and then 10 again, slide to 9. Hit 9 and then again slide 9 to 7. When we get to 7, there's not another hit. It just comes back up. Alright, so it's like a reverse direction. Hit 9 again, slide up to 10, and then to 12. Alright, so we're adding that 4th string. So alright, the solo will end at the 15th position here. We're going to be playing on the 2nd and 3rd string. It'll sound like this. Alright, so a lot of 15, 16s, little 18 added in there. 15, 16, 2nd string, back to 15, and then 18 bent with some vibrato and a release to 15. Then we're going to hit 18 again, bent up, and then 15, 16, 15. Then we'll catch 18 on the first string. Then we do a little walk down, 18, 15, 18, to 18 on the second, back to 15 on the first. Then 18, 16, 15, 16, back to 15, and then 17 on the third. Then 15, 16, back to 15 before we end on 18 bent. That's the end of the solo. So that whole thing together, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And that's the whole lead. We got the outro lead to go over next, and you'll have the whole song. Okay, the outro lead, which comes in about the fourth measure of the outro chorus, will sound like this. We'll just stop there. So he's coming in through the scale, third string, 4, 5, 7, second string, 5, 6, 7, to 5 on the first string, and then we lift off and go 5, 7, and then lift off to 7 and 8, and then we're going to go 7, 8, and bend 8. A slow release back to 7, 8, and then 5. Alright, so we have this so far from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. That 5 will kind of lead us back to start again. We're going to go open 5, 7, and then open 7, 8. Then 7, 8, and then 8 bent with a slow release to 7, 8. Then we're into the second measure. So we're going to start the second measure very similar, 5 with vibrato, and then open 5, 7, and then open 7, 8. Point it changes. We're going to do a walk up, all right? So we're going to start out here at the 10th fret, and it'll go like this. All right, so what we're doing is hitting 10 on the second string, 8, and then 8 slid up to 10. Then we're going to hit 13, back to 10, 10 slide to 12. 15 to 12, slid up to 13. Now we got to stretch a little bit, hit 17 before we hit 13 again, and slide up to 15. I'm sorry. Alright, and then we'll hit 15 again, and then end the second measure with 18 bent release to 15 to 18 bent twice. Alright, so the second measure starting from 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. At that point, we're going to do kind of like just a quick walk down lick to finish out the solo. It'll start like this. Alright, so we're going to start on the second fret of 15 because we've just left off the two bends at 18. So we're going to take off from 15 to the first string at 18 bent and then released with that after some vibrato. Then 15, 18, 15. Now we're starting the walk down. 15 on the I'm sorry, 18 on the second to 15 on the first. 18, 16, 15 on the second. 17 on the third. And then 15, 16, 15 ending with 18 bent and vibrato. Alright, so that third measure of the outro lead starting from the 15. Alright, that is the whole song, including the outro solo. I really hope you learn a lot. This is just a wonderful song in melody and structure, and I enjoyed learning it and, of course, bringing it to you. So, enjoy.